Oh, yeah.
Man, I know that this is stupid, and I think that I've done about 50 videos by now, maybe 60.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you that countdown to this day still changes the...
It puts the fear of God into you.
I'm telling you, the countdown begins to happen, and I can feel the blood begin to pump differently.
You're being put on the spot in the most literal way. It is literally a thing counting down, telling you need to say something now. For those of you who don't know, there's a count before we start the podcast, and when we start, there's a thing that counts down 5, 4, 3, 2. And Eric and I have joked so many times that every time that starts running, I can see both of our faces going like, okay, game face on. And it doesn't matter how many times we do this. Every single time, you can still see that like hint of like, okay, it's starting. And then we relax and we can start talking. So,
and I mean, I know we can edit, but could you imagine live? Like just going live? No, I might have a stroke.
But we're doing good. We're doing good.
We're doing good. All right, I'm gonna do the intro now.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Welcome to Bite Size Dental Marketing. Today I have Ian. Ian, thanks for jumping on with me today. I'm glad you're wearing a shirt, and let's talk about some marketing. Now,
so for those of you who don't know, before we started this, I said to Eric, I'm going to start doing something to make sure that when I appear on Eric's show, I'm going to get the most views. And one of the ways I can do this is maybe just kicking it off without the shirt. So depending on how the show goes, a button might go down every now and then.
No,
we can see where it goes.
I'm telling you, I think it's wildly suspicious that Saria is the top view on the channel, and she happens to run the paid media department. I think there's some shenanigans.
Battle of organic traffic. Yeah, the battle of organic traffic and paid media. That's it. It lives on forever.
It is playing out before us. Yes. One of the things that dentists ask us most often is they'll come to us and say, I want more sleep apnea. I want more full mouth restorations. I want more veneers. Obviously, the marketing for those is fundamentally different than the marketing for just someone who's looking for a dental home. They've moved into the area, right? We've always said that there's this sort of general entry into the patients or prospective patients, and then there's people looking for specialty services out there that are much more educated. So let's talk through when a dentist comes to us and says, I want more of X type of treatment. What's the marketing plan, and how should we approach their practice?
Yeah, as you just said, often, I mean, for me being on the SEO side, I've had clients coming to me saying, I want to perform better for this on Google. I want to rank better for this type of treatment. I want more of this case. I want more organic traffic to my Google My Business when somebody is searching for sleep apnea or for veneers. How are we going to do this? And my story never changes. We can't just snap our fingers and start seeing more sleep apnea cases. We can't just be like, okay, now switch. Okay, we'll get more veneers. There's a whole process that goes in that we need to do to demonstrate excellence to Google. That's the best way I like to see it. You need to build authority on Google within that domain that you would like to see more patients in. So for instance, if it's dental implants, your website should not then just have a tiny little page on dental implants and the rest of your services.
One paragraph's not going to.
Exactly. Because Google will look at that and say, how on earth can you think that you're just demonstrating excellence within this topic, within this domain, if what you're sharing with my users is just a little paragraph? And there's many ways that we can do that. Yeah.
No, I think Google's come out and said topical authority is very important.
Exactly. It's Now you throw me off.
Google.
So what does topical authority mean, Eric?
In the industry, we call it topical authority.
It's amazing that you know that, Eric. That's a very, very SEO. It's a very technical term that you're throwing around. I had such a good flow now. Now you throw me off.
Okay. I know we make a lot of jokes about internal jargon. Topical authority is obviously a very SEO centric term, but topical authority and demonstrating domain expertise are in my view the same thing, right? I think you're talking about.
I'd agree.
It's not just about having a paragraph of dental implants or a paragraph of prepless veneers. I do think that you have to demonstrate excellence in having patient testimonials, in having case studies. And I think both from a video perspective of showing patients who have gotten treatments done there in a positive light and talking about them of clinically what you did, right? So more of a case study type of content in a video. I think you also have to have a very robust text content on the site that speaks to it as well. Otherwise, I just don't, I think that's probably one of my biggest frustrations is a dentist will come to us and want to do it, but I want to do more prepless veneers, but they never really take the time to generate the content, to generate the body of work that shows that why they
in that field.
Why they should be referred by Google, right? Because that's effectively what it is. And I like how you put it, Google's job is to deliver what it perceives the most relevant result to the most relevant, query. And
Eric, a lot of times what we see is we have a dentist come to us and say, I would like to perform better for this service now, or I want to see more patients for this service. And this is important to me now. And there's this idea that it's a flip of the switch for us in our marketing efforts, that if I notify you that I want to do better in the service and we change a thing here or there on the website, they'll start seeing more traffic for that service, or they will see more calls coming in for that specific service. And the honest answer is, and this is one I always give, is it's not just a flip of a switch. We need to demonstrate excellence to Google within that service before it will even start considering to send new traffic your way for that. So whether that's sleep apnea, whether that's focusing on implants, on prepless veneers, if you have a little paragraph on your website that mentions what it is, and if you're a candidate, that's not displaying excellence. That's not demonstrating authority within that type of treatment in your local area. But if you have things like multiple reviews, you have video testimonials on that type of service, you have a body of content that convinces, I like to use the term convince. We are convincing Google that you are the expert in that area, that you are the best option when somebody, as you were saying earlier, to match the query with the best answer. When you can show Google that your answer is the best one to match with the query that somebody's searching on their search engine, that's when you start to actually generate new patients, to start to generate new traffic from that type of service, because you have, in a complete sense, displayed to Google that you are the one-stop shop when it comes to sleep apnea, when it comes to veneers, when it comes to dental implants. And that's something that's earned. It's not just given.
Yep. When you look across video content, text content, short tail keywords, long keywords, the Google My Business, in your mind, let's just use implants since it's probably the most requested. If you want to rank well for implants, what do you think is the minimum product you need to demonstrate? Like for me, I think you need a minimum of 3 patient testimonials, right? I think you need,
people talking about an incredible experience.
People talking about it, with a great looking smile, that are well spoken. I think you need, and from those 3 patient testimonials, I think you'd also need a supporting doctor video that clinically talked about what you did. You know, we had to do a sinus lift and we had to place an implant here. And I went in to do all on 4s and I decided to put an all on 6 instead. And here's why. And, you know, I would get fairly technical, but from the video side, I think that's it. What else do you think they would need?
So where that really helps, what you just spoke about, is the social proof of it. So that's once we've actually gotten someone to the page, and we've gotten them to rank in those top 5 spots or top 3 spots of Google. They land on that page. That's where videos and the testimonials do absolute wonders. For me, on the more technical side of trying to understand what people are searching for, how to rank them better on Google, that's where content is king in that, and where content has an incredible role to play. If you're able, you ask now, where's the base to start? You need to make sure that you have an incredible service page for whatever service it is that is important to you. That's not just, as we mentioned earlier, the half a paragraph that touches on what this type of treatment is. What is it? Who's a good candidate? What are the benefits? What are the downfalls? Are there alternatives? At what age should I rather not get this? Can smokers get this for the case? Should I have enough bone? Who has enough bone to be able to get implants? So all of the questions that we know people are asking on Google, first answer that. Then what we would do is start looking at your longer tail keywords that would put more lines into the water in terms of people searching that would put the intent more to themselves. So let's say it's somebody with diabetes that's looking for dental implants to see if they are eligible, whether it's a veteran, whether it's dental implants for seniors. Is it different if I had a sporting accident and I need to get dental implants? If you can provide an holistic sense of all of the different demographics that dental implants would maybe qualify for, along then with, as you were saying, the videos, the awards that you've gotten, reviews on your Google My Business talking about, I had an incredible experience. I was missing 2 teeth. They did an incredible job at fixing it. Google sees that and again recognizes that people are pouring social proof into your brand and that you know what you're doing, along with all of these other factors that I've just mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, I want a list of CE that you've attended and the courses you've taken and the certifications you've achieved. I think you're absolutely right. I think technically there needs to be a ton of good content answering both, you know, the more mainstream keywords as well as, you know, long tail.
Now you're catering to a wide demographic, and that's those lines in the water. And if you can provide, because that's at the end of the day, Eric, whether it's a plumbing service, whether it's a barber shop, whether it's a dental practice in this case, if you can demonstrate excellence within whatever question somebody is asking, unequivocally demonstrate excellence, I will trust you to either hire you for that service, or in this case, to book you as my dental provider to get this specialist treatment. But first, you have to display that to me before I can even begin to trust you.
Yeah, agreed. But I once the site stood up, once we have content that takes care of both keywords, once we have video content of the doctor talking about their approach, their technology, patients talking about their experience, I think you also have to make sure that the Google business profile is updated and represented as well.
Correct. And that's, I mean, there's various ways on the Google My Business that you can very clearly communicate to Google that you're offering this service, whether that's adding it in the product section of your Google My Business or adding it to the different services that you have on your Google My Business, doing posts about it regularly in the post section of the Google My Business, making sure that pictures of you performing this type of treatment and uploading that to the Google My Business is, again, there's various ways in which you can clearly communicate, not just to Google, but also to potential patients, that this is something that I know what I'm talking about. And exactly as you just said, that is just once again, one of the many ways in which you can create a holistic approach when you want to see more of the type of treatment that you love most in doing.
Another one that I like to see is I personally want to see reviews mentioning that they got the treatment done there.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
I want it to be very specific. When I got a dental implant from, Dr. Ian, I want the phrase in the review. I want consumers talking about it in those reviews.
Because Google takes that into consideration. That's a very good point. I ran this test, as you know, Eric, my dad is a dentist, and one thing that I did is I like to run SEO experiments with his Google My Business in the town that he's in, because he had not had dental marketing before. And one thing that I did was I started making sure that when a review would come in, I would ask the patient to mention the type of service in it. And finally, when I then had searched teeth whitening in Minehead, which is where he's based, the text that was highlighted that Google showed to me was, I had an incredible teeth whitening experience with Dr. de Jong.
Yeah.
And that was highlighted. So that shows us that we should never underestimate from how far and wide Google is reaching out to determine whether you are just demonstrating excellence within a type of service that you want to offer.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think everything from the words, this is the best dentist, they have the best team, they're caring. I think the words in those reviews are very, very strong signals to Google about what happens in the practice. I think that, and we've even seen how far Google goes to protect the integrity of those reviews by blocking reviews that it finds suspicious, by, it doesn't like the velocity of reviews coming from the internal practices, single location. It likes it when users paste later. Even around the gating that they used to really prevent back in the day, like we've seen Google invest in heavy technology to ensure the reviews are fair. It makes sense that it would then leverage them very, very heavily into the algorithm to serve content.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that again, and the important thing to remember here, Eric, is then along with those reviews and the importance of it, display that along with everything else that we've spoken about today. That's what demonstrates excellence. Don't try and focus on one thing. You will fail. If you focus on one thing, you will fail. You can have the most reviews. If somebody goes to your website and you don't have a page on dental implants, what type of excellence are you displaying? If you don't have any testimonials talking about this, if you don't have any technology that tops your competitors in the area, or you speak about their technology. So the word here today is holistic, and that's how you make sure that you demonstrate excellence and make sure that you are getting more patients for the treatments that you love to do.
Ian, that's a wonderful place to end it, buddy. Thank you so much for joining me, and that's your Biodental marketing for the day.
Always great being here. Thank you very much, Eric. Bye-bye.